What's up, Everyday Tactical Vids viewers? This is Tim. Thanks as always for checking out our videos. Today we're looking at a product from StatGear, and this is the StatGear T3 Tactical Auto Rescue Tool. I got this directly from StatGear. The gentleman who's the CEO and founder over there, essentially what he did was he sent this out to me and said, hey, I know you're into tactical things, etc. So check out this item. It is very cool. It's going to run you about 37 bucks over on Amazon. And he is an EMT and he works in New York City, and basically he's creating helpful tools for people like EMTs, people in the medical field, police, etc. And for those of us who are just tactically minded and want to have good tools on us. On the outside, you can see our nylon sheath. There is some sort of liner in there, so it makes it very, very solid. It's not going to just be kind of collapsing on itself. One snap there. On the back, you have a loop here that you can run a nice wide belt through, and then loops here if you want to attach it to some gear, like so. Let's open this up and show you the actual tool. A couple different features on this thing that I really like. Let's zoom in and we'll talk about that. Here's what the T3 tool looks like up close, and as I show it to you, you can see it is pretty wide. It's larger than your average pocket knife for most people, but I've carried this as an EDC knife and I didn't find it big and cumbersome. It wasn't like it was, oh, this is so uncomfortable, it's so heavy. And again, even if you don't want to carry it in your front pocket, you do have your sheath, so you can use that as well. Let's talk about some of the features. Open this up, you got a blade. Plain edge, serrated, so you got the combo, which some people like, some people don't, but it gives you essentially the best of both worlds, I think. You've got a thumb stud here on this side, no thumb stud on the other side. It is 440C stainless steel, and then you've got a couple other things built in here. So I will tell you, as we're talking about the blade, that when you are holding it, because it is a little bit wider, very nice, it feels very comfortable in hand, and you can see you've got some jimping up on top here, a little bit of jimping as we go into the spine of the knife, so nice and solid there. And then you got a lot of texture underneath here. So if you're dealing in a situation where you're using the knife and there's water, there's bodily fluids, blood, etc. like that, you're gonna have nice solid control. Grip there, some grip underneath. Just feels really good in the hand. Nice and solid. I don't feel like this thing's gonna slip out of my hand at all. This is a liner lock. Let me push this out of the way and fold this back. And then let's talk about another really cool feature, which is a strap cutter, or seatbelt cutter, some people call it. Does deploy with a thumb stud. There's your blade in there. This is a little bit wider than some of the other belt cutters I've seen before, so you want to be a little bit careful you don't get your finger in there, but that is an additional feature that you're not trying to maneuver something in a crisis situation to cut some sort of belt or strap. The thing I like about this is that it locks into place, so you have a liner lock for this as well down in here. A lot of strap cutters, they kind of fold out and there's sort of a tension lock, but if you push them hard enough, they will collapse back into the knife. This is, I'm pushing quite hard on this, and I've tested this before and it's not going anywhere. So you're going to push this down, the liner down, and then fold this back into place. You can see we do have a pocket clip here. Looking on the other side, you can, if you want to, remove this just to get it out of the way. I haven't tried to take this off and replace it here. I don't think that's actually possible, but just a heads up, you do have a pocket clip, and that's how I was running it, because I don't really like using a sheath for a knife, so I prefer to just put this in my pocket. The other cool thing, you got two more features. You have a window punch here, and what you want to be careful is essentially what happens is you're going to press down on this, press this against the window, press it down, and at a certain amount of pounds of pressure, the punch is going to come out and actually hit the window. If you're messing around with this and you press really hard on this, the punch will come out and tag you right there in the finger, so be careful. I'll show you what it looks like right here on the table in a minute. But the other thing I want to show to you is this very small light. I think it's about 5 lumens. If it's different, I'll put it down in an annotation here. But the idea is not, well, now I got a huge flashlight. The idea is if you're going up to someone who's, you found in an accident scene, and you can shine this into their eyes to see if their pupils respond. So it's not made to be like, oh, I can see with a 500 lumen light built into this. Very basic light to perform a very basic feature. To replace those, you can see this little divot here, and if you go straight across from where the thumb stud is, there's a little tiny divot inside there which you can't really pick up. It's hard to pick up. Yeah, you can do it a little bit there on the camera, but you pull that out and that's where you're going to replace the batteries. So again, now you got a knife, you got the strap cutter on the other side, you got your window punch, and then you have, let me get the light over here, you got the light here on the end. So a bunch of features in an item for less than 40 bucks. Pretty impressive so far. Let me show you what the punch sounds like, or show you kind of how it functions here. I pick up the StatGear T3 tool. It's now facing down on my table, and I'm going to press, and eventually you're going to hear a pretty loud click, and that's the punch that is shooting out and tapping into the table. I'm not going to do it against, my car for obvious reasons, but check this out. Push it down, and there's that sound. It does leave a little indent here in my table, but that's how it works. Here's the T3 tool. We got the knife, we got the strap cutter, we got the window punch, and we have the light. The knife cuts, it's sharp. The strap cutter will cut, it is also very sharp. You got the window punch. I'm not going to test that on my car, but I have seen other window punches like this, and they do work. And the light, I already show you that one works as well. Alright, so here's my thought. This tool, if it's bought by EMTs, police, firefighters, people in those high intensity jobs who are in high intensity situations, will this thing hold up? So I got StatGear to send me one to take photos of, video of, to carry as a knife for myself. And then also they sent me another one so we could just beat it up real good and see how it holds up. So let's put some footage in here of us really putting this thing through the paces. All right, I'm out here outside with my daughter Stella. Say hi, Stella.
Hi.
And we are testing out the Stat3 Gear knife, and what she's going to do is drop it, and we're going to do a bunch of drop tests to see if the light still works, the blade still opens up, locks in place, etc. So Stella, go ahead and just drop the knife on the ground. All right, that's the first drop. Drop it again. Okay, pick it up. Drop it again. Oh, that was like a slam. All right. So the light is still working after being dropped a bunch of times, but you can see that the window punch has popped out, and it can be put back into place, but I do want to let you know that after it was dropped a bunch of times, that window punch does pop out. Alright, so it's a bit windy out here, so hopefully you can still hear me, but we're going to test out the tip strength now. And there you go. Didn't hit it too hard, didn't pry too much, but tip of that snapped right off. So there's the tip of the knife. You can see that just snapped right off there. And the tip is still wedged there inside the piece of wood. I wasn't super aggressive with it, but it did snap off. One thing I have been really impressed with is the lockup on the strap cutter, and just to show you here. That thing is still locked up nice and secure. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that if you're holding it kind of on the sides here, and you're hitting that, this is going to swing open. So you got to make sure that you got the blade basically, locked into place using your hand like that. But that strap cutter's locked up nice and solid. Even though the tip is already snapped off, let's check out the lockup on the blade here. I'm off behind the camera now, and what I'm going to do is a couple of serious drop tests with this to see if we can eventually break the light or if it's just super sturdy. So I'm going to basically heave this thing up into the air a bunch of times and see if the light will still work. After some serious testing, you can see that the light does still work. I actually had the battery compartment here, right here, pop out, and battery fell out, and I just put it back in, and your light still works. Back here in the studio now, as we wrap up talking about the StatGear T3 Tactical Auto Rescue Tool. A couple things I want to note. Again, the light still does work after some very aggressive testing and just trying to beat the thing up. Still held up nicely. The hook does still lock into place, no issues with that whatsoever. You did see, let me close or fold this out of the way. Yeah, this guy right here, right? Yep. You did see that the tip of the knife did break off. I'm not totally shocked by that, just based on the overall thickness of the knife, and then the tip gets even thinner than this portion of the knife. But it's not made to be a pry tool, so don't use it in that way. Most folding knives, if they're this thin, are going to have some weak spots, and the tip is probably going to be that weak spot, so just be aware of that. Don't use it in that way. The fact that the window punch did pop out, that does concern me a little bit. We'll talk to the folks over at StatGear and find out their thoughts. The reason that's something to be aware of is that I dropped it a couple times and that popped out. So it's not like I threw it off the top of my, from the top of my house down to the driveway and that popped out. On the positive side, I was able to put it back together, and the spring function still does work fine. So the punch was able to be quickly reassembled, and still did work. So that's good. Overall, a hefty knife. Again, your price point, $35, $37, maybe down to $34, $33, somewhere in that price range. I also do like the sheath here. So it's got just a nice solid structure, and then you got options for how you want to set it up and attach it to gear. So once again, we're talking about the Stat Gear T3 Tactical Auto Rescue Tool, and 440C stainless steel. You got the built-in light, you got the window punch, you got the pocket clip, lots of features on it, and you're going to have to figure out if this is a good fit for you depending on what your application is or how you might want to use it. So I'll put a link down below if you want to purchase it, and thanks as always for checking out our videos here on YouTube. Please subscribe to Everyday Tactical Vids here on YouTube if you have not done so already. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, check us out on Instagram and Tumblr as well. Take care.